evening, and welcome to another wonderful edition of Conversation with the Love Crusader. It is a promising edition, and we're talking about a serious matter, but you know how we do it in a fun way. If you're coming across this platform for the first time, it is called Conversation with the Love Crusader. It's a platform where we talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships, everything relationship, all types of relationship. And we do this in a fun way. So get ready to have a very great time this evening. You can find us on YouTube at Men Fences TV, and you can subscribe so you don't miss out on notifications for when we are live. We are also on Facebook at Men Fences, Instagram Men Fences underscore love, and TikTok as Men Fences underscore love. Welcome everyone, and please do well to share this video, invite your friends, tell your brothers and sisters that it's time for conversation with the Love Crusader. All right, let me begin the introduction of the guests that I have today who have come to join me in this conversation. Our topic today, before I begin to talk about my guest, is love and absent fathers. So we're going to talk about love and absent fathers. And someone might say, wow, it's a big topic. Yes, it's a heavy one. It's a reality that sometimes we share away from, but it's a reality that we have come to live with. And so I have fathers, two powerful fathers here with me to discuss this topic today. First of all, my friend, my best man, my brother. We call ourselves, that brother from another mother, the one that would have been born in our house but went to another house. And then we reconnected again. Anogena Izwaje is here. I'm the
Yeah,
only one that is usually able to bring Anna to screen. The main FBI is here. Welcome, welcome, AU. Welcome.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
All righty. And then we have Reverend Ogbonia Nanana. Some people like to call him uh, a reverend of many, many years, a father, grandfather to be, despite that sometimes you don't want us to see the white bear, but we know that. All right. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, and it's good to be here. We're going to have a great show by the grace of God.
Okay. Let's start the show because, as usual, when we start catching phone and talking before we know what is happening, our 1 hour is gone. So we are going to make excellent use of our 1 hour today. First of all, let's try to give a background to this topic. Who is a father? What is fatherhood? Um, there are so many. I've heard some funny definitions, but I'm not going to go in there. So let's just start. You people are here. You are fathers, and you were sons before you became fathers. So, who is a father? Let's begin from there. Hey, you open
Wow.
the door. Who is a father?
Um, Basically, well, father is a man.
Hmm.
Yeah, father is a man as ordained by God, and then a man that being a man is huge already, and then you now take up responsibility, or should I say, take up more responsibilities of being a husband and then a father.
Hmm.
So it's 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 huge, but well, those that decide to do it, it's it's um it's what they do and do it with joy. Yeah. So a father, it's more like the breadwinner of the house, and is a role model to the children. The father is like an umbrella, yeah, that like covers the family. I mean, it's common knowledge that when you want to talk and yeah, my father, my father, my father. I'm not saying they don't say my mother, but there's this when you have a performing father, you will see it from the kids. Yeah. So the father is the head of the house, and then well, as my very good reverend we say, is the woman that's the neck. Anyway, we'll stop there. I won't go further because the statement continues, but I won't go further.
So Reverend, is a father only a man? Or let me put it this way, is every man a father?
Okay, I will start by defining who a father is and their roles, and then I will then answer your question. Firstly, a father is a male parent, and we must understand also, and I believe that by divine design, fathers are to preside over the families, and they need to preside over the family, one, in love and in righteousness. And moving away from the fatherhood or fathers, it's a lot of responsibility. And one of the responsibility is to provide the necessities of life and protect their family, guide their family, direct their family. They are an example to the children, not just to the children, for the entire family. One of the things that a father should be known for is to provide direction. Now, to answer your question, I started by defining who a father is. He's a male parent. Anyone who is a male and has an offspring is a father. Now, whether or not that father is living, is fulfilling the that responsibility of a father is another thing altogether. Because fatherhood in itself is a responsibility. Fatherhood is a responsibility. It's one thing to make children, is another thing to cater for those children, to be an example for those children, to provide direction for the family and for that child.
Mm.
Now, we will go into statistics and all of that, but let me stop here by this definition. A male parent is a father, and then is a responsibility. Fatherhood is a lot of responsibility. It is not just by name. Anyone can bear the name of a father, but to be a true father, it takes a lot of responsibility to to fill that shoe.
Hmm. Fatherhood equals responsibility. Did I get that? I think that is
Yes,
what you want.
yes.
So is that how you answer my question of saying, is it every man that is a father?
For every man to be a father, aside being a male parent, you have to fulfill these responsibilities that I have mentioned of guiding, of protecting, of being an example. And like Anna said, being a covering for your family. So it's not just being a male parent, but living and stepping into those responsibilities what makes you a father.
Fantastic. Can we, I know you've said it's a covering, it's a provider. Can we now go more into listing or talking about some of these roles that we say is what makes this person a father, that defines fatherhood? This responsibility, this roles, expectations that we have of a father.
Um, if we look at it from even the biblical context, the Bible says if a man is unable to provide for his family, he's worse than an infidel. Now, one of the core responsibility of a father is to provide. Another core responsibility that we've tried to establish tonight is that of guidance. You get what I'm saying? Now, God was speaking of Abraham, and he said, I know that he will point his children towards me. He knows that Abraham was going to direct. That's what I'm telling you now, that a father is one that will direct his children, his family to God. Joshua was also speaking. He said, "For I and my family we will serve the living God." I do not believe that Joshua needed to consult with his family before he made that statement. He has already pointed them to God. So a father is one that will point the children in the right direction that they will go. He will point the children in the things of God, he will point the wife in the things of God. Amen. Did I just say amen? So a father is one that will give that guidance, that direction, that leadership, that example. Let me say something to you. Children tend to learn more by what they observe than what you're telling them. So if you want your children to be the best, you want to be a best father, live an exemplary life so that they will be able to copy and paste well. So for me, this is the thing that if you do as a father, you are a provider, you're a protector, you're a leader, you're a teacher, a help and encourager, a friend, you make a good father. Absolutely.
Hmm. Okay. AU, let's come now to the topic of the day. Why do we have, why do we then have absent fathers, or as some people will refer to them, deadbeat deadbeat fathers? So absent fathers, fathers who are not there physically, they are not in the life of their children and their family. Then you have the ones who are not taking up responsibility of fatherhood. Like Reverend has said, these ones are fathers. Some of them are present, but they are absent. Why do we have these situations? What could lead to this kind of situations?
Yeah, I think the society, for one, has should I say like put a clog in the wheel of family as instituted by God, and now you find broken homes. Now you have divorce everywhere. The father moves out or the mom moves out,
Mm.
um, and then you have maybe unwanted pregnancies, people not taking up responsibilities for um, what they were happy doing somewhere in the secret. Now became opudential and they don't want to be part of it. Um, you also have families, like you said, that with people that, yes, they're home, but they're just not responsible. So you can as well just not be there. Yeah. So absent fathers are fathers that, well, children grow up
Mm,
without having them available. Yeah, and yeah, but you could have broken homes. Most likely, people the fathers leave, and then they move on. Most likely will go and have another family somewhere, and
mhm,
becomes divided attention, and then the ones they left, they might not just depends on how responsible the person is. I mean, you have children, you have kids somewhere. You should be able to want to be in their lives. I mean, if it's even if it's just weekends, taking them out, making
mm,
sure you are responsible for their education and the rest. I mean, it's not just okay to bear the name father and then you're taking trophies for number of children you bring into the world, but
mm,
you know you have to be able to do that. And sometimes parents fathers are upset, not because, well, I could say society too, but not in terms of divorce or anything, but maybe job. You're not physically present at all times. you know I have a friend that they have two kids. One is in one country, the daughter is in the country with the mom, and then the son is with him in another country. But he does okay, yeah. Monthly the move. I think he's in serious money, so they make sure monthly either this party comes this way or they go the other way. Two different countries, African countries though. So if you find yourself that work takes you out, and the work is, well, paying the bills, and you have not been able to find a way to, um should I say, return back to where the family base,
Mm.
but that doesn't give you a guarantee not to be present in your family's, your children's life. I worked in an organization, and then the organization has so many branches in rural areas. So I can tell you for sure, at 6 p.m. every Friday, you can have a lot, when I say a lot, of that organization staff on the road traveling back to their families.
Hmm.
It was because they had a widespread of branches, but they were in rural areas in some states. So, but once it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on Friday, you see everybody. You can be sure that everybody is on the road, going back to their families to spend the weekend.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you have to be able to see that this is where life has taken me, and in order not to, I've had to, I had to do that for 10 years. I was in another state, and my wife was in another state with the kids, and then it was my son's graduation from nursery school. It's a small thing, right? Nursery school, and we had the training that Saturday, and I met the guy and I said, my son's graduation is tomorrow. I can't attend his. He said, no, we just do it. I'll be done by one. Ah, by 4 o'clock, I think we were still there. It was not too longer than necessary, and he was telling me, my daughter's graduation was just there, and you are the head of this your unit. You can go, and nobody will say anything. That means you decided not to go, and I really wanted to go. And then by the time I got home, the guy was playing. He has changed his suit. He had even forgotten that he did his. I'm like very emotional person, and I just held him in a hug, and tears dropped from my eyes, because I mean it's just nursery school graduation, but I
But it's not
really,
something you'd have wanted
yeah,
to face.
I
So
really
from what
wanted
you're
to.
saying now, I can deduce that we can maybe categorize the reason for absent fathers into two major categories. So we have those who are absent by choice,
Yeah,
and those who are absent out of, beyond something that is beyond them. You're explaining work and all that
yeah,
now. um I want to believe that if effort is being made, and I mean, you can tell me if what I'm saying makes sense. If for example, like you're at work, and effort is being made to keep the family together, to try to get the presence of the father to still be obvious, then it will still be mendable and fixable and manageable. As much as we would have loved it to be an everyday thing, you get what I mean? Let
yeah,
father be there every day, but if it's not possible and the father is not there able to be there every day, then but he's making the effort, I think that should be celebrated. The place where we have challenge is where we have the ones who are now absent by choice. And I think that's where our conversation will really lie more. I like the ladies who are celebrating fathers today. Thank you all. It's not Father's Day, but me, I'm just celebrating them. Fathers are trying. We must just say it. It's not easy to be a father. It's a big, big deal. However, we have some fathers We still have to call them fathers, Abi, who
Yeah.
are there, who are not there by choice. Um, you divorce a parent, for example, you divorce their mother, then you stay out of the life of your children. Or, like you rightly said, maybe some will even say it's unwanted pregnancy. I didn't want this child. I was just dating this girl. I didn't want pregnancy. And the next thing she tells me she's pregnant. Is there a justifiable reason for a father to be absent? I think that's where my question is, Reverend. Is there a justifiable reason why we can say, okay, nothing he could have done, now let him be absent?
Um, Without meaning to give credence to a father being absent, there's a possibility of a justifiable reason. For instance, if there are parental divorce or separation, that could be a legal reason why a father could be absent. But in every separation or divorce, there's room for that father to be present, to be able to visit. There are times where the children could come over, the dad could pick them up. So for me, I don't want to believe that there's a justifiable reason, except where, like in Africa, where the mom wants to, remove the father from the life of their parents. We've seen this happen before. Or it could also be out of irresponsibility. Remember that when I was trying to define fatherhood, I said it's responsibility. Now, there are fathers that have chosen by themselves to be irresponsible. They don't want to be in the life of these children. Or they may have found love somewhere else and then moved on with their life and forgot the children. The Bible says that a mother cannot forget a suckling child, but it didn't say so for the father. So
Hmm.
it is most easier for most fathers to walk out of the life of their family, make new homes, and keep on living, only to turn around years to realize the damage that they have created, they have caused for themselves. Now, this thing we are talking about is a crisis, and I want you to listen. Statistically, both in America and in Africa, is a huge problem. In South Africa alone, there are 60% of fathers that are not living with their children.
Hmm.
And there's only 20% of that number that are in contact with their children. So
Hmm.
it's a very, very big crisis in our hands that we are talking about today.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, 4 out of 10 is an absent father
Hmm.
who is not living with their children. It's a very, very big crisis. In America alone, about 18.4 million children are not living with their parent, with their father at all. And that is huge. They're not living with their biological father. So when you look at this statistically, whether from America down to Africa, it is a crisis that we have in our hands. And like we're trying to, establish today, it is either voluntary or involuntary. It's either the father has chosen by himself to be irresponsible, not to be in the life of his children. I just watched a film a few days ago, a short clip where a father was scolding the son. What did the son do? The son was talking, was being rude to the mom. And when the father stepped in and the mother said to him, "This is what this child has done," he was scolding the child, and the child was saying, "I'm sorry, daddy. I'm sorry, daddy." It is because there is a responsibility that the father holds. There's a role the father holds. There's a duty that the father holds to that child to correct him. The moment the father was speaking, the son was apologetic because the father is a father all the time. If the father steps in, there must be decorum, there must be order in that family. And we need to understand that the crisis we have created has also created a societal problem. Because when the fathers are absent from the family, then you are only giving room to raise children that will have behavioral problems. You're
Hmm.
raising children that will be in prison. You're
Hmm.
raising children that will turn out to be like you. If that person is a boy, I mean a girl, there will be teenage pregnancies as well because they don't have any guidance. That brings us back to our definition of guidance, of example. A father needs to be present. In
Hmm.
fact, I'm not talked about when you're working and all of that. I worked up more than 10 years of my life. I worked more than 10 years of my life not being with my family. But one of the things that I did is that I made sure there were times I came in every weekend. There were times I came in every 2 weeks, depending on my schedule. I come in maybe once. The list was coming at least once a month. Otherwise, I come in every weekend. I fly. I drive. It was quite tedious. But you need to be in the life of your children. And being in the life of your children is not just coming home. You come home and you sleep. Find out in their life what is going on with them, what is their plan, what do they want to do. Correct discipline is very, very important. Correct and discipline. Make sure that they feel you when you are there. Make sure they know that you have arrived. In fact, those
Okay.
days growing, if my mother says to us, if we commit an offense, if your father comes home today, I will tell him, we're already shaking, we're in trouble, because we know that there's a present. A father is present, he's not absent, and he's a disciplinarian. He's someone that does not take nonsense. He will make sure that things are done right. So a father is one that when you are present, you're present. It is felt, it is known. So that's what I'm going to say for now.
Oh, thank you, Reverend. You've already gone very, very far ahead of us. I can feel your passion for the matter. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Titilayo said something here which I think summarized what we were saying before we came into the effects that Pastor have already started analyzing, which is the intentionality. I don't know whether is grammatically correct in English, but this is what I was saying about the fact that we can see somebody making effort. So if, for example, you have no choice, even in a divorce, um you are both separated, you're no longer living in the same house. If it's obvious that you are making effort to be in the life of your children, then that intention is seen. You, even the children can appreciate it. As much as the situation might not be palatable, they would appreciate seeing their daddy making that effort. And one mistake that fathers make, which we are going to come to, is the mistake of thinking that all they need to do is to provide, bring money, like ATM, put the money there, buy cloth. Reverend was already going into it. How do we explain the bigger picture to our fathers to understand that, yes, we know that they are breadwinners, yes, we know that they are providers, and these are roles that we cannot take away from them, very important roles. But at the same time, they need to go beyond just providing the money. AU.
Yes, I think father fatherhood goes beyond the provision. It's one of the responsibilities, but it doesn't. It's the responsibilities of a father is all encompassing. There's no I score A for English, I get B for maths. No, you must, now you have to have everything, at least have a touch of everything for you to be able to successfully bring up your children. Now, if you have a lot of money to throw around, they get spoiled.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm not around. Let my money work,
mm,
and then you keep doling out the money. There's the vacuum will still be created.
mhm.
There's a place for money. Don't get me wrong, but there's a place for presence. That's why even with broken homes, they could still have fathers that are not absent.
Yeah.
It has to be a conscious and a deliberate action of the father and the mother to agree, okay, yeah, I'm moving out, but I should have some form of time, either weekends or, you know, maybe you take 1 or 2 days or something. Just you see sometimes in movies the father comes takes the child, they spend the whole day out. I mean, you really don't have to, you don't need $1 million to do that if you're doing that once a month or once in a week. I mean, the thing is, you have to be in your children's life. They want to see you, they want to be able to talk to you. And if for some reasons it didn't work out, the children shouldn't be paying for it.
Mm.
Mhm.
You should have a conscience. I said a conscience, and I said deliberate too. I don't know, they might be the same, but I mean, it's just an emphasis on the action, what you have to do. I mean, I could as well say, yeah, I'm a breadwinner. My wife should handle everything. When I was like, though this is not, I wasn't absent anyway, but I was away from the house. And when I'm coming home, I always bring stuff for them, you know, and then we that day, that my daughter will have to knock on the door like 20 times or 50 times
Oh,
before she goes to bed. Sometimes, the days I'm coming late, they don't want to go to bed till I arrive.
oh.
I mean, and then during the week, or maybe the weeks I cannot come, we do video calls, and you just have to do something to make sure you're in the life of your children. Even when my son went to boarding school, we do. I'll call the school and then link up with my wife, and then though we're not in the same city, but we're talking to him at the same time. And you just have to do something. It's not just okay, yeah, it didn't work out, and that's all.
Okay, two areas now that I want us to talk about. Now, there's and Reverend has already made that statement of a mother saying, "Oh, wait, let your father come." You know, the fear of the father as a disciplinarian. How do you balance it with the father as a friend? Because there's the need for fathers to be not to be just seen as monsters. Daddy's coming. I mean, I grew up in a very disciplinarian household with an ex-military father. There was a time when we were much younger. My dad had a motorbike, and once we hear his motorbike, bam, outside, daddy has arrived. We all scamper like rats. You know, we whatever we're doing, you start checking yourself. We start arranging. We start running. We even if we were gathered in the sitting room, maybe gisting or playing or talking, the moment daddy has arrived, we take off. And I know that my dad said God had to knock him about it to say, "What are you doing with these children? Why are you not a lion? Why are you scaring the children? Why are you?" It wasn't because he hated us as a father. He was trying to discipline us, and my dad was very strict. So, how do fathers marry these two roles to be able to be a friend to their children, but at the same time maintain that discipline, Reverend?
Yes, I want to start by saying that the role of a father is one that is quite unique. And as a father, like we first of all established, he's the head. He's the law and order officer. His duty is to ensure that there's absolute peace and that things are done in the right way. Now, in correcting, it must be done in love. There's just a thin line between correcting a child and becoming abusive. For
Mm,
instance, there's a way of training a dog. If you get your dog and maybe it keeps pooing around, and by the time you hold that dog and you're showing him the poop, or you spank that dog and say and show the poop, if you do it one or two, three times, he understands that I am not supposed to do this. Now, so also it is with human being. When you're correcting a child, don't make it look like that it's more than what it should be, or you're becoming abusive. Let the child know I am punishing you, or I'm making out these punitive measures because of what you have done. And everything doesn't have to be by beating a child or being disciplining a child. There are certain things you need to do that can even be more painful, taking away the child's games, or putting them in a corner and all of that. So it's not all the time that you need to become a lion, but establish for that child the rules. One of the things a guy, the father, should do is let them know what is expected of them, what they should do and what they shouldn't do, so that when they cross that line, they know that they have crossed that line, but do it in a friendly way. Now, I know a mother or a father who, when he spanks a child, he tries to explain to you the reason for my actions. Because if the child does not understand that reason for which you have carried out that punitive measure, that discipline, he now feels that you hate them and you just want to punish them. So while you are teaching that child discipline, explain. You know, in an exam, they will say buttress, explain, expatiate. They are trying to get the truth, the nitty gritty out of the actions that you have taken. So become a friend to that child, but explain to them. I remember my father, if he's going to carry out an action, will tell you afterwards why you shouldn't have done what you have done and why I need to do what I have done. You understand? It is not for the father to be seen as a monster, but the father should be seen as the man who is the law and order officer, who maintains law and order. It's like when you become a prefect, those days when you have monitors in class, monitors were not liked, they were hated. Not because they were doing the wrong things, they were trying to maintain the law. And each time, the persons who maintain the law are the ones who are most hated or disliked because they are trying to set the rules straight, the way things need to be done. So it takes a lot of effort for the father to make it very clear to the children that I'm not being mean to you. All I'm doing is I'm trying to set the rule. Let me say something to you. Every home, most of the homes where there are no fathers, things don't really go well. I'm not saying that you don't have people who grew without fathers that became successful. There are. But the reason why God had a father and a mother is because these two have different roles. And the role of the father is that law and order who tries to strengthen things. So for the father, is a lot of responsibility to be able to explain to these children why I'm taking this type of step. It's like when a police stops you on the road, he tries to explain to you why I have stopped you. He cannot just begin to punish you without explaining to you the offense that you have committed. So father's role is hard, but we need to step in and do our duties and do our job well.
Okay, you have something to say to that? Balancing, the
Yeah.
role of disciplinarian and friendship.
Um, yes. You can scold a child, even as adults. Once you are scolded, whether you know you're wrong and somebody talks to you, you just keep your face like 3 days old custard, and you don't. I mean, you just don't want to talk to the person. It happens with kids too. So
Oh
if you have disciplined a child, scolded a child, you can go back later with the arm of love. It's like you use the left hand to flog, use the right hand to call them back. Left hand, when you're scolding them, it's like you're pushing them away. Even if you're doing it for a greater good, but that's what they see it as.
my.
But you bring them back with the other hand of love. So there should be a place of balance when you are aware that sometimes punishment, scolding, and yes, takes pushes them away. You also find vices to bring them back. It's like Reverend said, you make them understand why you have done what you did, and then bring them back. You talk to a child, and then the child goes with a frown face, and you come to, okay, come here. You won't give them a hug. I mean, life continues. They know that that thing they did has been frowned at
Mm,
and dealt with, but the love that remains in the family has continued because you have brought them back with a hand of love. So you should be able to balance it properly, or else you just be like those sergeants that we used to have in secondary school those days. All they do is to flog you. That's what they were employed for. They don't do any other thing in schools. The ex-military men, they'll just once they call sergeant for you, you are collecting six at the minimum. They have this koboko they carry about. That's their job, yeah.
exactly. So fathers are not sergeants.
No, 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 no. It shouldn't be
Neither
said.
are we in a military barrack. As much as the discipline is important, it's extremely important because we have to teach these children law and order and provide for them. Um, how would I put it? Just an order of life and an order of things. And sometimes we have to do it the hard way because, they don't listen the first time. And you have to maybe do it again and again and again. And then sometimes we can get frustrated as parents and now say, okay, now we have to punish you. You have to undergo some form of punishment for what you've done. However, it must be done, like Reverend said, in love, in such a way that the child understands that I am being trained, I am being, and that is why we must not teeter towards abuse. There's difference. Even if we've been mentioning flogging here, some countries is not allowed. Flogging and caning is not allowed in some countries, we know. But whatever level of discipline that we are using should be measurable. Create home activity. I think this is another point of how a father can be present. And in the country where we are right now, people are very busy. We are hustling. We are working hard morning, afternoon, night. There has to be a conscious plan. And I would like you, fathers, as you are already doing, to talk to this. How do you go about making that conscious plan that creates family time, bonding time, that doesn't just, to ensure that your children are not just lost and on their own in the course of us looking for money and looking for work? And like AU said, we could be working somewhere and that place is far away. The money is important. The father needs to still provide, and he still needs to engage with his family. What's Maybe even some suggestions of activities? A father could be there and saying, okay, yes, I want to engage with my children. I don't know how do we help them? Whoever wants
Um,
to go first can go first.
okay, Reverend, should I?
Okay. Just few weeks ago, well, no, a few days ago, I was home. I was home for a few days, and my wife and my son, and I said to them, let's play some game, because I felt I'm not always there. Today I'm around. Let's do something together that could help us bond. Some other times you could go out for a meal. You could even make it a routine to say every end of the month or every fortnightly we go out for meals, we go out to park, we visit friends and all of that. There should be something that brings the family together. It could be something as much as watching films together, like we did a couple of days ago, doing movies together. These things will help. Now, if because we are busy, it might not be something we do every month or all the time. But when you're at home, try to spend time with the family. Even if it's something as just as little as doing a movie together, it helps, with gluing the family together. I can understand, like we rightly have set out here, that people are busy. But family is supreme. Family is very important, and we must do whatever we can to be present, you know, to do anything we can, like from games to having a meal together, to taking trips together, to help us. Where these things cannot be done, where you can't take a trip, you can't do the games together. You did mention something about doing a telephone call. It could be a video call that you do once a week. It helps us, to understand that we are still together and that we still love each other. And most importantly, as a family, pray together. Where you have children who are abroad and you all are not together, you could still do a phone call and try to pray together. Because I believe that when a family prays together, they stay together. It's one thing that I believe very strongly. So there are too many ways that we can all help each other to stay united as a family and that our presence are being felt.
Thank you, Reverend. AU.
Yeah, I think he has mentioned one or two that basically do. I come in, well, the first person to leave in the morning and the last person to come in at night. And when I come in, the kids they give me a rundown of what the activities they've had in school and all that. And at that time, frankly speaking, that's not what you want to hear, but you just have to. Yeah, listen to it and then tease them about it. Oh, so this is what you did all through today. You know, that's what you went to do in school. We just, you know, and then when I have free, it might not even be a free time. I could come by 8, and between 8 and 10, we have seen one movie. just to put that bond together. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go to cinemas all the time. You don't have to go like
Mhm.
um my boss said, you don't have to go out all the time. I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's it's also very good. I know families that make it a point of they do it monthly. They know they have family outing monthly, and then they have that for the couple too, so that them too they can, you know, do Siseko and forget the children and look do the youngster thing. That is that you can do like set games, card games, board games. It tends to bring the family together. Once there's an activity that involves everybody, it pulls the family together. There's this oneness, togetherness, just time shared, and it goes a long way. I mean, you can't be absent if you're playing games together, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the trend of the conversation, and Titi is trying to shake some table here. So I want to talk about this before we talk about effect and how we can help those who don't have fathers. We if we just talk about all of the problems and we don't help those ones, the conversation will not be complete. Titi said we should have productive conversations. Men generally don't like talking. I don't know, but I stand to be corrected. When you tell a man, let's talk, we need to talk. I think it's one of the this phrase that men hate more. Can that does it translate to their children? Or are they able to have productive conversation with their children? It's just the women that they're scared of when the women say, let's talk.
I believe that I'm one of those people who like to communicate my feelings, and if I feel that there's an information that I need to pass with my spouse or to the children, I don't hesitate to do that. I may not be with all the kids here, but I try to put it online and everybody talks. For instance, um, myself and my eldest son speak almost every single day. If we don't talk in a day, then that day must have been terribly busy. We spend at least, if we don't speak 10, 20 minutes, if some most times 1 hour, talking about things, talking about life, having a productive conversation because I'm not there, he's not, he's far away. And we try to engage as much as we can to have meaningful interactions that will help the family and help him and myself. And for instance, last night I was busy somewhere and I reached out to my youngest son. How is he going? How's everything? I tried to check up on everyone. That's what I do. If I want to check up on you, I can pester you with trying to find out how your life is and what you're doing and the way forward. I feel that it is not a fear of having a conversation or not having productive conversation. It's maybe not having enough of these conversations. I think that might just be the problem. There's no father that will tell me today that he's not having a productive conversation with his children. How have you been able to raise them? There are productive conversations going on, but the frequency, the number of times that you're having these conversations is what we will want to try to up the ante and to say, okay, we need to do it more often. So it's important, like it's been outlined here, it's been suggested that we should have positive conversations more of them. It could, in fact, I remember a woman who will always call her children up at night, at middle of the night, to have these conversations. I know it's not a time where anybody will want to have such conversations, but it is because you're looking for an atmosphere that is less tense. You understand? So it's important to have conversations that will help the family, that will foster good relationship and help the children to develop well. For if you ask me, I believe that there are conversations that are going on, but it depends on what you're talking about or you're looking for in either a productive conversation or what you call, something that is meaningful. That could be a topic for another day. But for me, I feel that a father who has been a father for 20 years or more, or 5 years or 2 years, must have been speaking to their children and they have been having conversations. It depends on what we now call, productive or otherwise.
Thank you very much, Reverend. So some of the effects of absent fathers, I'll just run through because we don't have time. As we know, is poverty, because the load that two people are supposed to be carrying, one person is not carrying it as a mother, so there might be financial incapability, for whoever is now raising this child. Most kids who have no father in their life drop out of school. Some fall into drugs. There's a sense of loss, a sense of abandonment that they feel because the father is not there, and some don't even know who their father is. There's that trust issues with girls. So when you hear that a girl has daddy issues, the father has not been there, the father has not shown her what it means for a man to love her, and so she's looking at this guy who's asking her out and she can't trust him. There's a whole lot of it. But what I want us to concentrate, because my time is up. Like I said, I don't know what happens to my 1 hour when we're having fun on this show. What I want us to really concentrate on now is, how do we help someone who's come out of a who has grown up without a father. There's this show that we usually watch. We watch it as a family in my house, and I don't even know why we do, but we really just do here. Listen to Paternity Court.
Quality cloth.
And every time, most times you hear the guy say, or even the lady said, I didn't have my father in my life, I don't want my own child to be without a father in their life. At 18, they're already having children. They are living rough life out there, because they didn't have this guidance, this protector, this covering of a father. What can they do? How can we help them? What pointers can we give them to redirect their life, so that it doesn't have to always be the end of the rope? Okay, yes, this person, as a protector and as a father, the one who biologically birthed you, is not available for you to fulfill their role. Does that mean that is the end of life? Can I really become better? I mean, is one of my best examples in life. Tyler Perry. He grew up without a father. Doesn't even didn't know his father, just with his mom, and he's successful today. However, he will tell you what he was going through, even as a young person, without a father. So it's quite challenging for them. How do we help young men and young women out there who, unfortunately, don't know where their fathers are?
Um, I think if you have grown without a father, you already know what it is that you missed.
Mm,
Like you said, I don't want my child to grow up without a father. I don't want the person to be like me. So those you take a conscious, you do a conscious effort to make sure that those things that you missed out, your children don't.
mm,
Generally, that's how life is. Even if you had a father and a mother that couldn't provide for you, and you know that you wanted to ride a bike and you couldn't ride a bike, when you have your own kid, you say, "Oh, I couldn't, I didn't ride a bike because my father couldn't provide. My son will have a bike." I don't know if you understand me. So you can toe that line, and then even if you have not had your kids and you just okay, yes, I grew up without a father. These are the effects that's had on me, but I don't want to remain that way.
mm-hmm,
Then you have a conscious and a deliberate turnaround, and you turn
mm,
your life around. You just give an example of Tyler Perry. It doesn't mean that everybody that grew up without a father will be poor, will end up as addicts, drug addicts, will end up as thieves, or will have unwanted pregnancy. Even those with fathers and mothers, complete, even two fathers and two mothers,
mm.
go that way too.
Yes.
There's always an exception to the rule, but it's a choice thing. You decide that I'm not having this in my life. You don't
Mm,
have to have kids yet before you do that, even for your own self. I mean, self love is no harm. Love yourself first and try to make sure you have a better life, and then you bring people into the world and give them the better life. Better life does not mean you flood everywhere with money. There's a quality of life they have to have. They have to have life that has no vacuum. Vacuum that has been created by an upset father or mother.
Mm, mm, mm.
So if
Thank
you
you,
have, yeah,
Reverend.
Yeah, I want to say that because you do not have a father does not mean that your life will become a standstill or you become a failure. You need to self-determine, make that determination to say that what I lost without having a father, I'm not going to live the same life. I'm not going to be the same. I will be the change. It's a determination. Now, because that life has put you on the ground, does not mean that you should remain on the ground. Make a conscious effort to turn around your situation. And one of the things you should do, if you listen very carefully, most of the statistics that are out there is because they were teenage pregnancies. There were some careless attitude and carelessness in the part of these fathers who are upset. They were not prepared. Now, don't get into anything that you're not prepared for. If you're
Mm,
not ready to be a father, if you're not ready to take up responsibilities, don't take up fatherhood. Fatherhood is responsibility.
I say that again.
And if you must be a father, step in to be a father. A father comes in with a whole lot of things. The children will stress you for money. They'll stress you for love. Your wife will stress you for love as well. There will be too many things that are calling for your attention. So if you're not ready to be a father, don't even start. There's no need because it's a lot of responsibility. So for you to be a present father, you need to be a present father holistically in all is saying. You must be a father. And for a child, it's okay if you don't have a father, but it's not okay if you toe the line of your father. One of the things that I got from my father growing up is each time he was going to be praying for me and for my kids, he lays his hands upon our heads and makes this pronouncement. He said, "You will be greater than me, you'll be better than me. What I could not do, you will achieve more." That's a father who is impacting life into his children. So if you have not had a father who impacts his father's blessing on you, oh, come on, that's not over for you. You can toe and go back to God the Father. There's still God the Father there who can bless you and make your life better. That you don't have a biological father does not mean that your life stops there. No, 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 no. Don't give up on life. Keep going, knowing that there's God the Father and he can redirect your life, that you will not become one who will be living on the street or in prison. Your life can be better. Pick up yourself. You can become a good son and a father one day.
Mm. Thank you so much. In addition to what my reverend and my darling brother has said, you can find a mentor. If your biological father has failed you, there are a lot of father figures out there in the world. You don't have to grapple around on your own. You don't now have to be walking in darkness. One of the major places you can find some of them are in church. And yes, some people might say, okay, well, being religious, yeah, is the truth. The love of our of God the Father is unconditional, unfailing. So if you get to know God and if you get to come into the experience of knowing him as a father, is one of the best things that can ever happen to you. And in that relationship, there are a lot of people. I mean, I know Reverend is more than willing to have lots of adopted children. My dad has lots of adopted children. Anogana's father has lots of adopted children. These are fathers that I know who have reached out even beyond their biological children to children who are not theirs biologically. So look for that father figure. Don't go around life and now getting into trouble, getting into drugs, going and say, oh, it's because of my situation. Yes, the situation has come, but you can change it. You can make the choice to be different. And I like most what Reverend said about not becoming a father. Fatherhood is responsibility. If you're not ready for it, men out there, brothers, children, young people, don't just start experimenting with sex just because you feel that now you're a man. You start doing that, like Anna was saying, the things you do in the secret can come out in the open. And it comes out in the open in the form of a child. And then responsibility comes. In some countries, we know laws are not so good about it, but in some countries, you go to jail for not taking care of your children, for not paying child support. But I think government should also go beyond not just child support and paying money, but these fathers being present in the life of their children. Anyways, that's our time. My time is up. Our time is up. But I believe that we've had a very, very fantastic session today. And these wonderful fathers, experienced fathers that we have brought to the platform, have been able to give you some pointers. Like I will always say, we have a WhatsApp number on our Facebook page. If you need to talk to someone, maybe from this conversation, you feel like, okay, I need a father figure, please reach out to us. I know a lot of fathers who will be willing to mentor you. I know a lot of, even the ones who are here talking to us, they will be willing to be father figures for you. Don't go through life alone. Don't go through life lost. We don't want you to be lost in a crowd. 33% of children, they say, 24.3 million children are without fathers. That's a very, very scary statistics worldwide. Anyways, please share this video. um you could be helping someone, you could be saving someone. Subscribe to our page so you know when we are live and you will not miss this kind of editions when we come your way. Thank you so much, Reverend, for your time. Thank you so much, AU, the FBI.
Yeah, to
If you
another
want
3 years.
to he said to another 3 years. I don't think our viewers will agree with that. Oh, they want it to go more often. Please don't make it another 3 years. Thanks to all of you who were not with us in the studio, but you sent in your comments. Every one of you, we appreciate you. And thanks to those of you who would even watch this broadcast after we've gone off air. We are coming again next Sunday, 6 p.m. And this time, I have ladies here who come and talk about absent mothers. We're turning the table around. Let's talk about the effects of mothers in the home, their importance, and what happens when a mother is not there. All right. Thank you again, everyone. Have a love-filled week. Remember, send in your questions, send in your comments. We're always happy to hear from you. So we'll come your way again. God bless you. Have a love-filled week, everyone. God bless you. Thank you so much.